Hey guys.
Hey.
What's happening?
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Good. You guys? Good.
Good.
Good to see you guys. Another day.
So I wanted to talk to you guys today about this lawsuit. Have you heard about this? That 41 states have filed against Meta, the parent company of Facebook.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Basically, at its simplest, the lawsuit is alleging that Meta has unintentionally, or intentionally I should say, targeted too many young people, and it's addictive in some
Right.
capacity.
Knowing that their product is addictive.
Yeah.
So what's your take? What do you guys think of social media in general?
Well, it's dangerous. I personally do not have social media except for maybe Instagram, and that's about it. And I try to stay away from it.
How about you?
I mean, my feeling on it is that it is a necessary form of communication and dissemination in today's world, right? The way that people communicate now, especially the younger generation, is almost solely through social media. I have kids. My kids don't call their friends. They rarely text their friends. All their communication is done through these social media sites and the chat features on there and the location features on there. But the wild thing here is that it becomes super dangerous, right?
Okay, so is the fault the social media company or is it more human behavior? For example, if I drink 1 cup of water, that's fine. If I drink 20 cups of water, is that the water's fault or is that my fault? Right? It's like social media can be great. It's changed sports. I don't have to wait for Sports Center at the end of the night. I can go online, boom, see the great LeBron play or the Laker highlight, and I'm done. It frees up my whole night. The problem is, though, if you make your whole world social media, then I agree with you. That could be the problem.
Well, go ahead.
No.
I was saying, I think there's levels to it, right?
There's levels?
And everybody gets out of it what they need. The problem is, are people using it for more than what they need, and are they using it in excess of what they need? I've seen kids literally just sitting on their phones mindlessly, scrolling through some of these, and there's really nothing they're getting.
But whose fault is that? Is it the kid's fault or is that Facebook's fault?
I mean, parents, for sure,
Maybe
right?
parents' fault.
Right? Parents' fault, right? Okay. I mean, depending on the age of the child. But, replace that social media, replace that screen with a pack of cigarettes.
Or a TV.
Right? No, but even go back further. Pack of cigarettes, right?
Horrible.
Like, whose fault is that? At some point in time, they used to tell you, doctors used to tell you cigarettes were good for you, right? I mean, you use your
weight.
You use your water hypothetical.
Yeah.
What you left out in that hypothetical was, is there anything in between, right? Did you have a doctor telling you, don't drink 1 cup of water, drink 20 cups of water today? At that point in time, is it your fault? Is it the doctor's fault? We're supposed to listen to people that we think are experts on the subject matter. So is there some reliance there? I don't know.
But how much of it has been just society pushing this on as well, though? My concern comes with the privacy. So think back when we were kids. We're roughly about the same age, more or less, right?
I like you.
And thanks. No social media. Whatever dumb things you were doing, it's not going to be posted on Facebook, Instagram, whatever thing, right? Or TikTok, whatever it is. You have more of a privacy. You get to be more of a kid. And nowadays, everything is about your image. Everything is about being in social media, being exposed to this and competing, right? And there's nothing kept secret, I guess. You can't make mistakes that are not going to end up being on the internet.
I mean, this is a conversation that I have in my household all the time, right? Because you're right, we didn't have these same issues when we were a child. We were cautioned, be careful what you do, be careful who you do it in front of. But if you're not doing anything in front of somebody, you didn't really have these issues. Now, everything you do is potentially in front of everybody. And that's a big concern.
And without your consent, right?
Well, but that's only if you post yourself.
Not necessarily. So, okay, let's play this out. Let's say that Christmas is coming, right? So I'm at a Christmas party and I'm being goofy and I'm dancing on top of a table or whatever. I'm not going to post that myself, right? I don't mind taking video, but you're there, you think I'm funny, you take a video and you post it.
I see. Okay, good point.
Right? And then at that point, what can I do about it? I really can't do anything about it.
Every time you step outside the house, you expose yourself. Take it on a couple levels like this. Imagine a birthday party. Not that kind of party, but let's say a dinner party. We're going to go to a restaurant. But we're not going to invite this one friend. Why? Well, because maybe not everyone gets along with this person, or the last time this person ruined it, or whatever it is. So we're going to go. But now we've got to talk to every single person here and say, we have to agree nobody's posting anything on social media, because if you do, that person's going to see it. That person's going to know they weren't invited, and that's going to create a whole big issue. We didn't have these issues before. Go another step further. You're at your party. You're doing something harmless. You're in the back of the the room and you're just talking to a male, right? And that gets caught on someone else's video, and maybe your significant other sees that and says, who's that you're talking to back there all friendly, right? I mean, there's all sorts of levels to this.
Yeah, there are. Okay, fine. Those examples, good point. But what I like about social media is that it gives people who don't have a voice a huge voice. It gives a lot of transparency. It teaches you, like I know with COVID, a lot of people learned how to cook because of social media. There's a lot of alternative medicines that have produced incredible results because of social media. Like social media is not always bad. I think it's human behavior that makes social media bad. For example, if I have a son, if I tell him you can only use social media about 2 hours a day, fine, that could work. If he uses social media 8 hours a day, then we have a problem, right? So I fault the person, not social media. So now with Meta, the reports state that internally they knew their product was addictive and they didn't warn anyone about it. What do you guys think? Businesses have a responsibility to tell people if they know it's addictive? What are your thoughts?
Well, let's go back to torts, right? Many, many years ago. It doesn't cost anything to just have, or it costs very minimal to have a slight warning sign that it may cause addiction, right? Just with like nicotine and tobacco, cigarettes, all of that.
Right, but Facebook never has a warning. That's the thing.
And I can tell you this.
They should.
Tobacco companies would happily rip that Surgeon General warning off the side of their
If
cigarette
they
packs.
sued,
if they were
right.
allowed to, right?
That's a good point.
Nobody wants to have that on there. Should they have it on there? Maybe. It's definitely addictive. The problem for the human, the people using it, and if you're using the child and the parent scenario, is that your kid is going to become addicted to this. And you can do everything you can to slow that down or withdraw them from it, but absent taking it away from them completely, you can't. And the funny thing is, you can't take it away from them completely. Why? Because if you do, you're going to socially isolate them.
Yeah, right.
Because everybody else is doing it.
Right.
And so that's the biggest problem, is that society has taken on the larger role, even maybe more so than the social media companies themselves. It's a runaway train at this point in time. It's completely out there. Everybody's doing it, unless you had a whole neighborhood of people block it, right? Or like a city or a state,
your school, right?
completely cut it off.
Yeah.
You can't. Right? I mean, I've had one of my children in tears when they were younger because all their friends had it. They didn't. They weren't communicating with people at home. They'd come to school the next day. Their friends would all be on some topic that they were talking about the night before on social media. And my child's telling me, hey, this is like, I am being left out, right? And what do?
That stinks. Right?
Stings, and it's stunting for their social development too. In a weird way, social media helps in their development. It's crazy to say that, and coming out of my mouth, I don't want it to be true, but it actually is a part of society, especially for our young people now.
I think if Facebook is going to make unlimited amounts of money because of this, they have a duty to warn people. What do you guys think?
I agree.
There's no cap on how much money Facebook can make. They almost have like a moral duty to tell people. The counter argument though is look at casinos. Are there any warnings on casinos? No.
There are gambling warnings. I believe you see gambling
now
warnings.
There are, right, with like FanDuel or...
But even, I think even, and I don't spend enough time in casinos to answer that, but I believe there's some sort of warnings, and there may be something that they have to like warn you about, a gambling hotline or something like that. You're not going to see it at the tables. You're not going to see it posted all over casino floors. Right. It may not even be in the casinos, right? It may only be on like commercials or advertisements. I feel like I've seen something. But
you're right.
You're right, though. You're 100% right, but that's the thing, going back to social media, they have to be in the discussion on this. We can't blame them completely, but we can't absolve them of all liability as well. What should happen is these companies like Meta should be coming to the table and saying, what can we do? This isn't going anywhere. This is how everybody lives now.
Everyone.
What can we do to make this safer for our children, safer for our communities, right?
But why? Why do they have to do that?
So that we can be more responsible, so that it doesn't end up corrupting everybody. Right?
But they're not a government. Isn't that the government's job?
Do you really want to give the government that job and that responsibility?
A little bit, because look at speed limits, right? Let's say I'm Corvette. I have an incredibly fast car. I don't set the speed limit, right? If you don't know how to drive a Corvette, you can harm yourself. If you're reasonable, it's the greatest car in the world. It's the government who says, hey, if you're on the freeway, you can only go 65 for the safety of everybody. Or you have to wear seatbelts, right? So it's complicated.
Then, do you think that it would play well? What would you propose? So the government coming in and saying only people 12 and older can use social media, or you can only limit your use of social media to 3 hours a day. Something to that effect, or
Look, a 12-year-old can't buy a handgun. A 12-year-old can't drink alcohol. Maybe the government needs to step in and put guardrails on this thing we call social media.
Are social media companies, are they liable for damages that are caused by addictive, usage of these sites?
Okay. Question. What is the damage, right?
well, I mean, anything could be the damage, right? Let's say that your kid looks at a TikTok video of this guy having a gun and he goes and gets your gun and shoots someone. That's the damage. Potentially be the argument that was the damage.
Okay, so you're talking about a greater access to, detrimental information, right? Or something of that
Or
nature.
Right.
giving someone an idea
Right.
of how
Right.
to do harm.
Which has been an argument about
mean,
movies and video games and things like that
thank
already,
you.
right? Okay. What about like cyberbullying and things like this, right? Because this stuff is all happening. You take a site like Snapchat where the thing actually goes away, right? It only lasts for 20 or 30 seconds and you're sending these harassing, terrifying or whatever, racially charged things to someone else to bully them, and then it goes away and there's no evidence left that they've done it, but they've seen it. Or what if it's just something like on a smaller scale, like this has caused my child's grades to plummet, or they,
Yeah.
something to that. I don't know yet. This requires more exploration.
It's a good point, because growing up, if I had a haircut that was kind of terrible, I would go to school, maybe my friends between 2 to 10 would make fun of me. 2 to 10, right? Fine. If I'm online with my haircut, all of a sudden 1,000 people makes fun of me, I won't be able to handle that, right?
Right.
No one would be, let alone if that really goes viral.
Well-
So should the social media companies be responsible?
Yeah.
I think so, maybe, right?
Well, yes, because going back to my earlier concern about privacy and whatnot and what we were talking about, you're filming someone and you either caught someone else talking to someone and that causes problems, or someone films you while you're at a party and you're having fun. And what if that video of me dancing on the table now damages my reputation and I lose my job, right? Because I was at home having fun and I didn't expect you necessarily to post this and you didn't have my permission. And
Fair enough, but the damage should go towards the person who did it, not the technology behind it.
but typically with
'Cause
that,
how does Facebook even know you or the person using Facebook?
well, then shouldn't there be some sort of mechanism so that they have to have your permission before they post your image all over social media, right?
Well-
So in everywhere else, there's usually some sort of disclaimer, there's some waiver that you sign so that people can post your likeness, your image, wherever, on social media or wherever else, right? So maybe that's what they have to do.
Yeah, but if you step out of your house, do you have any reasonable expectation of privacy? You don't.
Not anymore.
But you also don't consent to being blasted around the whole world on
Right.
every social media platform against your will, in a sense.
Look, the reality is we're still in the infancy of this, right? So this is going to take many turns, I think, in the next couple of
Maybe.
years, and we'll see. So I don't know, but hey.
What are your thoughts on TikTok?
Well, I personally don't know a lot about it, but I know we use it here. But the bigger issue that I imagine that you're asking about is the potential ban of it here in some states or in the United States as a whole.
Yeah, the fear is that TikTok is based in China and they have these servers that are recording all of our TikToks.
I mean, they probably are, right? But are they? The question is, are they using it as spy technology?
Yeah, I think it's a little exaggerated, this fear of China recording all of our TikToks to use against us. That seems like a stretch to me.
I don't know much. I mean, I don't have TikTok. I don't go into all of that. Going back to it again, I really don't do social media. That's just me controlling myself.
I don't think we know enough, and I don't know if it's
Right.
that our government can't get enough of a regulation on it to make it controllable or profitable or whatever it is, or if there really is some sinister undercurrent there. I'm not sure, but it's something to follow, right? It's an interesting story to follow. All right, so what about a scenario where the government wants to restrict something on social media, but it's not the federal government doing it, it's states that are doing it. And so you have certain states that say, yes, you can use TikTok, and you have other states that say, no, sorry, you can't.
Yeah, because of the nature of the internet, I don't think it could be a state-by-state decision. I think it has to be federally.
But it's happening with gambling right now, right? Online gambling is legal in some states like California, but it's not in some states like New York.
Good point.
But didn't TikTok get banned already in some states?
They are,
or
slowly.
at least they're trying to get
Yeah.
that done, right? And maybe that's gonna work to a certain level, and then it will be very much state by state. And if you don't like it, then you move with just like
Yeah.
with anything, any law, right?
Yeah.
If you don't like the laws in that state, then you move to another state that has laws
like
that you like
You,
more.
you get your abortion in one state, you gamble in one state, and you do your TikToks in the other state.
And you go own guns in another
And
state.
then you, right,
And your
right.
car's registered in
And
a
car, right.
In another
right,
state,
for
yes.
tax purposes, right.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's something that we have to continue to read up on and educate ourselves on, and
It's here to stay.
It's here to stay, and there's
No
more
doubt.
to know, right?
More to know. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
All right,
Okay.
man. Yeah.
this was
Good to
good.
see you guys.
Yeah.
See you on the next one.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.